Perhaps the difference between first-degree and second-degree murder is unknown to you, but let me tell you this difference has definitely not gone unnoticed by the ex-boyfriend of Gypsy Rose. This is the exact reason he will probably spend the rest of his life in prison. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. A pause to please remember to like this video and subscribe to my channel. Now, let's look into some details of the case. First, we have Claudine, the mother of Gypsy Rose, as well as our victim. Claudine made up illnesses of her daughter all her life, like cancer, muscular atrophy, and others. She shaved her daughter's head and took her to over 40 doctors, each prescribing new medicine and treatments. Gypsy Rose was in a wheelchair for most of her life. Moreover, Claudine committed fraud by taking money from charities such as the Make-A-Wish Foundation. The press has reported that Claudine also abused Gypsy in the form of chaining her to the bed and beating her up. What? The real illness? As crazy as it sounds, Gypsy Rose was never sick. She was manipulated by her mother into believing she was for her whole life. Gypsy met her boyfriend Nicholas in a Christian dating website. They talked online for a long time before meeting in person. After a while, Gypsy realized she did not need a wheelchair and caught up with the fact that her mother had been manipulating her. Gypsy and Nicholas became close very soon and committed to each other. At one point, in 2014, they decided that in order to be together, Gypsy's mother had to disappear. So, they started planning Claudine's murder. On June 2015, Nicholas traveled from his house in Wisconsin to Missouri, where Gypsy lived. He got the money for the bus ticket from Gypsy herself, as well as money to stay in a hotel in Missouri. When he got to Gypsy's house, she was standing waiting for him by the door with a knife and a pair of blue latex gloves. After giving him the knife and gloves, Gypsy locked herself in the bathroom. Nicholas went into Claudine's bedroom where she was sleeping. He stabbed her several times in the back until she was dead. Then, Gypsy and Nicholas cleaned up the blood. Gypsy had stolen $5,000, and with this money they took the bus to Wisconsin to start a new life together. Before heading to Wisconsin, they mailed the knife and gloves to Nicholas' address. However, they got caught soon after. Gypsy posted a message in the Facebook page she shared with her mother, asserting her mother was dead. The police traced the message to Nicholas' address, and they were arrested. Gypsy accepted a plea deal by the prosecutor to spend 10 years in prison for second-degree murder. Nicholas, on the other hand, was condemned for life in prison without the possibility of parole for first-degree murder. As you may be already deducing, first-degree murder carries far higher penalties than second- or third-degree murder, but we will get to that in a second. Fast forward December 2023. Gypsy Rose was released on parole after serving 7 years of her 10-year sentence. According to the press, she looked better when released than when she got convicted. Apparently, prison suited her. Gypsy married a man with whom she exchanged letters while in prison. She never saw Nicholas again and, from what has been reported, has no intention to do so whatsoever. Nicholas tried to have his sentence overturned by arguing ineffective counsel, but the motion was rejected in 2023. Okay, this is the part that does not add up. So, whatever else, it does not seem fair that one of the parties involved in a murder is released after 7 years of prison, while the other spends the rest of his life in jail. Either Gypsy got an extremely good deal, or Nicholas got an exceptionally bad outcome. Maybe both things are true. Let's start by looking at the arguments made in Nicholas' trial regarding first- and second-degree murder. According to criminal law, murder is defined as unlawful killing of a human being with malice aforethought. First-degree murder is the most serious form of murder. In order to classify murders in different degrees, criminal law highlights various elements or aspects to take into consideration. A first-degree murder must have 3 key aspects. A first-degree murder must be committed with some sort of intent to kill the person. The murderer must therefore have attacked or harmed their victim with the purpose of ending their life or doing evil. Also, deliberation and premeditation are essential parts of quantifying a first-degree murder. This type of crime must be purposeful and planned out, rather than simply occurring in the heat of the moment. Finally, it requires malice aforethought, a legal term that basically means that a person who committed the murder did so with an intent to kill and a general disregard for human life. When arrested, Nicholas confessed to murdering the victim, so the arguments of his public defendant were aimed at showing that there was no deliberation or premeditation in this case. To prove this, he argued that Nicholas suffered autism and diminished capacity. The argument posed by the prosecutor was that premeditation and deliberation existed, since the planning of the murder had started 1 year before it happened, as shown in the online conversations held between Gypsy and Nicholas. Personally, my initial thoughts are that autism does not necessarily prevent premeditation, so I do understand the reason the jury delivered a first-degree murder decision after only 2 hours of deliberation. Should the defense have used other arguments? After all, Gypsy declared in Nicholas' trial that it was her idea to kill her mother. Plus, Gypsy was granted a deal for second-degree murder, even though all the elements for first-degree murder were present in her actions. The reason she was given a break was because of the abuse she suffered from her mother. Maybe Nicholas' lawyer should have tried to lessen the conviction by explaining that Nicholas, in a way, was also preventing the abuse of Gypsy. Oh well, just talking out loud. After all, hindsight is always 20/20 and free. The result, as in 2023, is that someone will stay in jail for the rest of his life, as a rather forgotten individual in a case that has caught the media's attention for years. Then again, he did commit murder. First-degree murder. Thank you for watching.